Studio Plum.
And I'm Sean of Renstead Interiors. We're interior designers
turned internet friends
turned real life friends.
Welcome to the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
We're not that hot
or that young.
Every week, we'll be spilling the tea on how a new generation of interior designers can run their businesses.
Welcome to the club.
Hi, Sean.
What's up, Rebecca?
Oh. It only took 2 years, but my COVID levels are up.
Oh, I know. I'm sorry. Okay. I'm glad that it's like not severe and that you guys are mending quickly. I mean, still you're losing like a week of your life, but
another week. But yes. Yeah, we're fine. It's just like, oh, this is still happening. Just FYI, everybody.
COVID's not gone, everybody. Like,
no.
And it's not from Highpoint even.
No.
We successfully traveled across the country, got back, and then it hits you like in your backyard at home.
Spring break. Basically. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it came from school.
Gotta love it. But what, you know, we don't need masks in school.
What are you gonna do? No, she's all just fine. Let's just take them all off. Okay, well, let's not go into that, but we went to Highpoint and then I went on spring break and now I'm on my COVID-cation. So
yeah.
How are you?
It's a 1 month leave of absence you didn't know you were gonna have.
Okay.
Things are good. I feel like I should just say it here because it's going to be a few more weeks and it might not start on time, but
you heard it here first.
I leased an office space.
Renstead Interiors World Headquarters.
Yeah, our HQ, our Bat Cave, our whatever. It's the Fortress of Solitude is going to happen in Long Beach, and they're currently working on some tenant improvements, and I'll have more to share when I can feel like I'm going to share more of it, but I'm not going to share anything on social media yet. I want to be able to like show the space. And I haven't been into it until maybe this afternoon I get to see it again.
Since you signed the lease.
Since I signed the lease, which I was like, Rebecca was trying to sleep and was like, can you shut off the light? And I was like, emailing red lines on my lease agreement
in our Highpoint
in the Highpoint like hotel, and then I'm sitting there in the dark still doing it with all the lights off.
Oh, that's what backlit keyboards are for. Turn that shit off.
You were like, can you turn the light off? I'm like, okay, whatever. And then I just kept going, and it was like, so I feel like I never got accustomed to Highpoint time. My brain was always like, no, it's only 9 o'clock. And then it'd be midnight and I'm still firing away. So,
well, yeah, you were kind of wrapped up in your negotiations, which
I was wired. I was trying to get it done. So maybe if they finish everything, I can get in May.
Yeah. Congratulations. Can't wait to see it.
Thank you. Lots of plans.
Say goodbye to the next 6 months of your life.
Already. And my garage already has a bunch of junk from IKEA, and my storage unit has stuff from IKEA. And I'm like holding deliveries already at our receiver. Like I'm just like trying to front load as much as I can at the very sage advice of Rebecca, who's already done this, which was just start ordering. You just
have to start ordering. I mean, we got our lease signed in September, ordered like for upholstery. Like I know you're going to get upholstery in too.
Yeah.
Upholstery ordered October, and we just got ours last week.
Oof.
Today is April 20th, 4/20. So not celebrating, but we did get our, so that October to April feels like a really long time, especially when you have just like an empty office,
a big empty spot on. Yeah, they're very that. And so my first step was like, okay, can we just order the desks that we're going to have in there? Because I definitely need a place to sit with us. And then once I have that, I can go from there. And then the conference room stuff is on the way, because even if I do have empty space, I shortly want to be able to start having meetings, and
Yeah, you should be able to work in there pretty quickly.
Yeah, it'll just be a big empty box where we'll be echoing across the hallways to each other, but
yeah,
it's exciting.
It fills in. It's very exciting. Congratulations. I think we have a lot to talk about today.
It's like a loaded I didn't see how much there would be until we started bulleting out all the major things that happened from Highpoint.
Yeah, it was a lot. So I'm kind of glad. Like, I feel like I didn't, and you and I together definitely haven't debriefed on the whole thing, and like it's just been a whirlwind since. So we thought that, so in episode 36, which was about a year ago in February, we did a episode called This Little Hottie Went to Market, where we were about to go to Vegas for the second time. And that was our first market experience during the COVID times.
Yeah.
So we were pretty Vegas focused in that episode. And
we went to Vegas again even after that episode.
Twice.
We've been to Vegas 3 times now together.
Yeah. So and Highpoint twice. So we are now like full on market veterans.
We basically have done it all. We know it all.
We wanted to revisit and be more Highpoint focused, because it was actually, we'll talk about this a little bit more, but it was pretty fun running into some hotties out there who said that they used that episode to prepare.
Yeah.
I think that's so cute.
I am like 100%. If it saves anybody time or energy or trepidation while packing, or if it just makes any of that easier for any other designer, it has done its job.
Like, yeah, your big sis and your GBF are here to lay it down.
Yes. And this is the re-up. Like
This little hottie went to market. The
re-up, the sequel,
next generation.
Yeah.
Okay, so revisit. So I just wanted to say, revisit episode 36. We talked about setting up your accounts, tips for registering, a little bit in fashion, but it was more Vegas focused. So today we're adding on.
It's so, I have to like reflect back on Highpoint in October, because we went to Highpoint after I had my break from the podcast. Like we were going to that right after that. And then we haven't even touched base on it. So I feel like this is good because we can compare 2 trips and how we did them. We did them a little bit different this time.
A lot. I feel like they were a lot different.
Yeah. The first time we went in October, when we went last year, so October of 2021, we stayed in Winston-Salem. We stayed at the Indigo, the Hotel Indigo in Winston-Salem, which was great. Loved that. And then this time, for comparison, we stayed in Greensboro. So, and we stayed at a scary yacht property.
It was probably better in 1987.
Oh yeah, it looked great when they filmed Home Alone.
It was mall parking lot.
It was okay. So the difference between the first trip was, I think we definitely, as a group, we're traveling. We went with Lauren from Studio Lilac, our friend Claire from Etch and Ivy. We were all there together, and we're all kind of in line with that bougie traveler experience. So the Indigo kind of aligned with that. They had a nice little food and coffee and bar situation happening in the lobby, which was perfect actually. And Winston-Salem had I feel like downtown Winston-Salem had a little bit more going on that we were interested in from a food, drink, coffee shop perspective. But Greensboro,
a college town, and it's like a little bit more of a walkable neighborhood too, where we were, which was nice.
And Greensboro was not that. Very mixed suburban strip mall-y,
at least where we
chain
were.
restaurant-y.
We're not speaking for the whole of Greensboro because I know that there's some nice areas and there's a lot of people that
We
live
weren't in
there.
downtown Greensboro.
We
That's
were
the
not.
difference. Yeah. So, and each of them felt kind of equidistant from Highpoint Market. Like drive-wise, some days were, one day I got there in like 10 minutes because I was late and I drove like a wacky Californian from Greensboro. And I got there really fast.
On the right.
Other times, 20
Did
minutes.
You drive on the right side of the road?
I mean, you know.
There were a few.
There were a few times where the one-way streets
there were a few
definitely confused me, and I was doing a little bit of some Indiana Jones. Like
you were not liking the wayfinding.
Oh yeah, from a West Coaster's perspective, the wayfinding, the road signs, it's might as well be another country in North Crackalacky, because it's like, why is the exit warning sign 10 feet before the exit? Like, if people are driving 60 miles an hour, good luck everybody else. Like,
there's a little bit of two-wheeling happening. that was
so
an adventure.
Rent a car
and don't let John drive. Just kidding. It was
Claire did a really nice job driving on our October trip.
She really did.
She really did an amazing job. She was a good mom. Rebecca and I are not the ones to get up early and like power through a morning routine, and
not really.
We're definitely leaving by 9 o'clock regimented. Like, it's like, okay, well, we got out the door. Like,
yeah, well, I had to get out a couple times. Well, let's just back up. So for those who aren't familiar, Highpoint is in North Carolina. We are West Coasters, so we are not all that familiar with the area. We had to fly into Charlotte. I know there's a couple airports, but Charlotte is the best hub for us from the West Coast.
Especially for nonstop flights.
Yes. So that is about an hour's drive from anywhere close to Highpoint.
At least, yeah. I think we took like 90 minutes, which that was pretty... Right
hour.
When you land, the last thing you want to do is like take the equivalent of watching a movie to get to where your hotel is.
Yeah. Plus a stop to Cracker Barrel. We had to factor
world famous Cracker Barrel.
Worth it. So that's just FYI on that. I think people on the East Coast can fly into Greensboro, but some people flew into Raleigh. So just know that it's not a close hub from a flight perspective.
Yeah, Charlotte's the farthest, but the Amex Lounge, you saw it when we were leaving. Bonus points on that little lounge moment. Which you're not going to get at the smaller airports.
No. It was nice for sure. And they have the little rocking chairs.
Yeah, they do at the Charlotte airport.
So, and then Highpoint itself is a small, cute little historic town with basically nothing but showrooms.
Yeah, it's just a lot of like industrial warehouses and buildings mixed in with like the housing. And it's granted, we don't explore like the town when we go into Highpoint that much, but you get around enough that you can see. And then from
there's
parking,
not like a lot of restaurants. It's very seasonal, which I know they're trying to change. So there's not a lot of restaurants. So you're kind of like in a little island when you're there. And then when you leave, so there's not a lot of back and forth. So our drive should have been 25 minutes driving at speeds and that was pretty much the same in Greensboro or Winston-Salem.
Yes.
So
because they're both kind of like a V.
It's like all
if Winston-Salem's at the bottom, or if Highpoint's at the middle. It's half. What does Sean says with his southernisms? It's half a dozen. It's 6 of one and half a dozen of the other.
Right.
So just pick your poison.
So just know, like, you kind of stay on the outskirts most likely, and you come into town and then you leave for the night. So there's not like just going home and taking a nap. Maybe some people do that.
It's not like a Disneyland trip. Yeah.
No. which would be great. I think that would really.
If they could just get some mobile nap rooms
Oh
that
my
you could,
God. Why is that not a thing?
like trailers they bring in, and you just like check into a nap. You reserve it on your phone. Nap room, 45 minutes of just like checking your phone, scrolling,
With a
putting your
little
feet
foot
up, shut the light.
massage?
Like mobile mother's rooms almost.
Oh
Did we just
yeah,
invent a
those
new
little
business?
pods. No, they exist, and this is the furniture capital of the world. Like that's easily.
Like if this was like the mall where they had those little massage tables, like where they could give you like a head and neck massage in the middle, like I would sit down and do that
And pay a
at
premium.
Highpoint. Yeah. Come on, Highpoint Authority. We're talking to you. Get it together.
There's your next, and you can brand that shit. Get those.
Get a sponsor to do it. So the whatever massage chair is brought to you by American Leather. Come on, let's do it.
Done. So, okay. So planning that we did sorry. The first time we did a nice vacation, I would say, where we had nice dinners every night.
We made sure we had reservations every night,
which if you want to go out to dinner is critical,
essential,
especially in the fall.
If you don't want to eat at Applebee's.
Yeah. Or where did we? Oh my God.
Chick-fil-A.
We had Chick-fil-A like 5 times.
No, we had Chick-fil-A. We had Chick-fil-A 3 times, right?
That's still a lot.
Didn't we have it twice for breakfast?
Yeah, it was a good breakfast.
I think one day we had it for breakfast and dinner.
We did. Because there was nothing.
We made no plans. Nothing was nearby. We didn't want to eat at Bojangles.
We were like, our hotel was in the parking lot of Back to the Future. Like,
it was like a dead mall. It looked like an abandoned mall. Yeah. Because when we got there, they had that paranormal circus in the parking lot.
Circus.
And that was literally what it was called, guys. I'm not just like, it was literally called the Paranormal Circus. So, you know,
there was not a lot happening where we were.
Of this, my assessment is Winston-Salem was much better from that experience than Greensboro. Like, we stayed at the Indigo, but it was also near the Kimpton, which I've heard good things from people staying at the Kimpton. But yeah, you want to like feel good. Like, how many shuttle stops does it get? Which you can check on the market planning stuff. Like,
and what do you really want to do? So I feel good where like we had the fall was like fun with friend time, nice dinners, shorter days at market.
Yeah.
We'd go in the morning and we'd leave like
by
3 or 4. This time though, which I'm kind of glad we didn't stay somewhere with nice ambiance because we weren't ever there. We left pretty early, and I mean, we shut that show down. Like,
we were there till we were doing the happy hours, doing the drinks, doing the entertainment,
taking the last shuttle to the car multiple times.
Oh yeah, empty parking lot. We did the full Lady Gaga bus club, another club. Like, we hit it like every day.
We weren't partying per se, but we just like did it. So that was also fine. So like going back to our like weird hotel wasn't a big deal.
And we had our car, so it was like we were in control of the day versus letting the shuttles dictate. Like, if we did want to leave early, we could. We don't have to wait until the shuttles start running back to our hotels. Or or if we wanted to start our day late, we had the car, so no big deal. I know that for everyone that's not like it can be expensive. So if you have some design buddies, it's a good idea to try to split some of that up.
Having a car is kind of critical for us because of the airport. And then parking's really easy because they have these satellite parking lots with shuttles and go anywhere vans that run all the time. So
exactly,
unless you need to be somewhere at a really weird time, it's pretty fine. But yeah, you're not bopping around in your car. Like, you park it for the day and you come back, like you take a bus to get back to it.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I would recommend. Like, I think it's really just, what are you kind of up for? And then I think maybe next time, the next wave would be to rent a house, which we didn't want to do because we didn't want to have to cook, and we wanted to be able to have stuff in our hotel, but we didn't really rely on that anyway either of the times. So
no,
I think we would be fine having a house if we can find one that meets our
we need a nice
standards.
House, No little kids, race car beds, none of that
I don't
stuff.
want a
But you have to start
polyester
like a year
comforter.
in advance, I feel like.
Yeah, so book now. I'm actually thinking we should book for next April JIC, and then we could decide if we're going to take it or keep it or not.
Yeah.
So book now for sure. Those houses go quick. So do the hotels that are more popular.
The desirable places are going to be booking in advance.
But
well
also
in
keep your
advance.
expectations low on all of
Especially
that.
compared to Vegas, because we get so many great hotel options in Vegas. You also have a lot of dirty, gross hotels too, but there's a lot of great places to stay in Vegas when you go for market, and it's not really
cheap.
Not the same.
No, in Vegas is pretty good and cheap with tons of restaurants at your fingertips. So
correct.
It's the opposite, but there's so much more to see. Oh, also when to go. We went this time. We got in Friday night.
Yes. And we thought we were going to be ahead of the game, getting to see some antiques on Saturday.
Because
officially
vintage. It wasn't supposed to start until Sunday, right?
But the inside scoop is that most of the vintage sellers start as early as Thursday. And that maybe in reality, Wednesday. Then we should have gotten there on Wednesday, because we're with our flight stuff. There's no way to fly in on that day. So for us, the lesson was, if we wanted to be ready for like true vintage, get your hands on it before the Kelly Worstlers and the Courtney Bishops and the Nate Burkesses of the world get it all, you got to get there the day stuff opens, like Thursday, Friday. I heard from some people who did a lot of vintage, they were gone Saturday morning. They only came for vintage and antique.
For vintage.
And they were just like, they hit it Thursday, Friday, Saturday, they were gone. Or they only like did like a half day at the major market sellers, wholesalers on Saturday morning.
And that's if you want to buy vintage. If you don't, that's still there. They don't ship anything out.
The showrooms are all full of it.
Stuff.
It's just tagged
sold
by other people.
Everything says sold KW on it. But really, so yeah, I think next time, if we really want to buy vintage, we'll get there on Thursday. Spring was the most normal, quote unquote, that everyone said. So the weekend was popping, and then Monday it was dead from a social standpoint.
Oh yeah, we should have. Had it not been for you being on the design influencers tour and like not having as much of your days to yourself around that, I think for sure we could have cut out at least a full day, potentially 2 days, potentially.
But I also was kind of surprised at that, because we like to use our work time to do that, and it seems like a lot of people like to use their weekend time to go. So
yes,
it's like a philosophical difference. But yeah, the Saturday was like a party in the streets, like literal, like Sean doesn't remember this, but there were wine carts.
I don't remember the wine carts. Yeah.
There were like complimentary wine carts out in front of where the vintage building was. I saw it a few places. And I mean, like Eichholz's party on Sunday night was like, it was like a spring.
The drinks were pouring. The food could have been better. Everybody's general consensus was the food was still a shortcoming. Like not as many lunches, not as many meals. Some of the vendors were doing like if you made an appointment, we have something for you. But if you didn't, there's some snacks on that table when you walk in with the M&Ms. Like it was just like, get out.
Yes. So I'm hoping that improves once we get another one under our belts. But yeah, drinks, I felt like were definitely flowing. Mm-hmm. And we definitely had some, but you were driving. It's not like we were like partying.
Yeah, I couldn't get trashy. Also, it wasn't like the best alcohol ever. Like,
well, no, but
I didn't feel like I missed out on Vouv or something.
Really long days. But yeah, food still not the best.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there. There's food trucks. There's a lot of the showrooms you could find food. I didn't have any kind of red moment of freak out.
Yeah,
I did in Vegas.
As long as I stayed caffeinated, I was sufficiently
tons of coffee.
Yeah, sufficiently appetite suppressed because of the caffeine, so it's fine.
Yeah. And as far as planning your showroom visits, the Highpoint Market app, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was good for me to like load everything in and then I would like remove them from my favorites list after I had been to them so I could see more clearly who was left. The downside is you took them out so you can't see them anymore.
They actually have favorites and a heart. Like there's like two ways you can add a collection. So I kept all mine in my favorites, maybe, and
And then
then
like unhearted them.
unhearted them. Yeah.
Yeah, their app makes it
Because
good
it
too because you
stays
can
for next
also,
year.
and because everything is so spread out, it helps you visualize where they are a little better. So if you're already at, if you're already
Showplace.
like, if you took a go anywhere van to show place and then you are like, well, what else is right here right now? Then, okay, I can look at my map and look at my stuff and know what's near me immediately.
Yeah, you could filter by location, shuttle stop.
Yeah.
It's pretty robust. And we keep talking about the Go Anywhere van, just that
It does like a 6 mile radius. Like
it's free.
it's free anywhere that will take you wherever. You might have to do like a Uber share with people. You got to like hop in with some other designers sometimes and you're going the same direction, but it was
But
kind of
that's
awesome.
fun. Yeah, that
And you
I
can
met
even
a lot of
call
people.
them. You can call when you're somewhere far away and get one brought, get one will come to you and get you from that place too. So if you did venture out and were like, oh shoot, I'm so far away, or you walked and then you don't want to walk back, that's helpful.
Well, yeah, like there are a few key showrooms, like Cisco Home. You have to drive or take a van to get there.
And they have
But
their
it's
own van
way
that'll
worth
take you
it.
back too.
Oh, they do?
Yeah.
It's totally worth it.
Like we did Varellen in October. It's
Mhm.
beautiful. I'm not gonna buy from it because I can honestly feel like I can have something custom made and it you only buy it for the name, I feel like. That was my assessment. It was beautiful, it was gorgeous, it was a whole vibe, a whole experience at Varellen. Massively, crazily priced stuff. And I
I've heard
don't
it's
necessarily
like gone
think
up a
all the
lot
value
too.
was there.
It's definitely worth going. We didn't go this last time,
Yeah.
but it's a
Worth
vibe
a
is
see.
the way to express it for sure. So
Yeah.
Go Anywhere van, make sure you use those. Get out off the beaten path, see, because that's where some of the like I would say more inspirational showrooms are
Yes.
outside.
Yeah, because they own the whole experience. It's like their whole warehouse or their whole,
like,
building.
Corporate team.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Cisco is in an old cotton mill, and it's so
It's a cool building.
It's so cool. I got to tour with Cisco's daughter. So when I was on that influencer tour, and so to just like meet the people that work there and design the spaces, it was really cool.
Yeah.
Switch
gears a little bit to the fashion of it all.
Ooh, okay.
I brought more shoes than I wore. I think you did too.
Mm-hmm.
Because once you had the ones that were comfortable and your feet are getting tired, like you just keep going back to the ones that do right by you. So
I've said this before and I will say this again. Do not fuck around with shoes. Like
don't test some shoes. Don't wear in. Oh, I'm going to wear them in at market. No, you're not. No, bad idea. You're in danger.
Like if it's you're in danger, girl. If they're even remotely not something that you'd wear to do, like it's really what would you wear to Disneyland for a week? Because that's where you're going.
Get yourself some new insoles.
I invested in Hoka's this time, much to Sean's chagrin. He didn't let me buy them in October, but this time I was like, I don't care what he says.
They're not the most cute, but you were not having fights about your feet. Like,
okay, if you don't know what
you could
Hoka's
never have gone all
are,
day without
they're
them.
like literal, that's what nurses wear, but they also like are like they have running shoes and stuff.
I think you're one step ahead of orthotics with Hoka's. Like
the next step is like if you go on their Instagram, they're trying to like make it that like norm core, like cool kids are wearing them. I found some fluorescent yellow ones just because I wanted everyone to know that I was in on it.
Okay. It was like you knew the joke.
Yeah, but I'm not even kidding. They're the most comfortable shoes I have ever worn in my life. My feet never hurt. My legs were tired more than my feet hurt.
Okay.
So I'm not even gonna like mess around anymore because that knocked. I mean, Claire got knocked out last year because of a bad shoe. I mean, a bad
Yep.
shoe will just ruin everything.
Yeah. You've got to be able to be on your feet all day, the whole day, up and down. So don't mess around with comfortable shoes. For me, it was like, oh, I'm not going to wear my cute tighter fit jeans because I know I'm going to be up and down testing furniture and I don't want my clothing to feel like it's restricting me from really getting in and like using things. It just sounds weird. Like you're not working out, but you're testing a lot of stuff. You're moving a lot, opening drawers, like be really comfortable. Make sure it's not your like tightest clothing or your smallest clothing, maybe is kind of what I would say.
No.
Like if you just want to be cute and stand there and stand still, great. Then yeah, you could be a mannequin all the time. But no, otherwise you're gonna like get in there. Don't wear. I can't wear layers.
Yeah, I'm really glad that like dresses and sneakers are having a moment because that's really all you need.
It reminded me of seeing a lot of the people when I used to take the train into downtown LA to work and
the
seeing like
chic.
Yeah, people like in their suit, like ladies in their like skirt suits and hosiery with sneakers. Like,
yeah. But it doesn't even matter. Nobody cares. I mean, we said this last time, but you'll see the whole gamut. But most people are wearing sneakers.
I am going to say some of the most questionable style choices, Highpoint takes the cake. And I think that's a Southeastern influence because Vegas is not. Vegas has just as many questionable ones, but I do feel like from a West Coaster's perspective, I saw a lot of things that I was like, oh, well, someone made some choices this morning.
And you sent me a lot of hair photos.
Oh, the hair. The hair's worth the trip if you just want to see like the higher to heaven, the closer to God. Like, yes, it's all crazy.
It was more than that. Yeah.
Some of them are rat's nest. Some of them are, is this a joke? Is this the Long Island medium?
Like I really did.
Yeah.
Long Island medium.
I was very respectful. I never said anything to anyone's face.
Just check my text messages.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And then what to bring? Like, you don't need to bring a bag. I brought a little, like a small crossbody for just my phone and wallet. But I did end up picking up a tote a few times. So if you
you said that's so funny. No, you had like a half a dozen at least that you left in the room, and then you packed another half dozen.
Gave them to me.
Your bag was like 25 pounds overweight going back.
It was. I
think you took a lot more stuff than you planned on.
Well, okay,
as your grab and go.
On the design influencer tour, I had 15 different stops, but one of the cool things was that we got pretty good swag bags. They weren't like junky stuff. So some of it was like good candle. Like I brought home like 3 or 4 candles. J-Port gave us this like amazing blanket. So that's not an everyday
that won't be every market.
No, but even when I wasn't on the tour, I did have a tote to put like a bottle of water in. If you stop in American Leather, for instance, they have an amazing snack bar.
Oh yeah, go stock up on the Prosecco or Bubbles in their little fridge, their custom kettle chip thing.
Oh my God, they have some like really bougie snacks. So you need a bag for that kind of stuff. But don't bring one because there's totes everywhere.
Yeah, like a fanny pack would be nice, but I just can't bring myself to do it.
No. I did. Someone on one of the girls on our tour did bring a little backpack, like a Jan Sporty type of backpack. I'm like, that's kind of a good move. I would
Yeah,
have.
because the shoulder bag, if you have a heavy, if
Mhm.
it's too big and it gets heavy, it's like pulling unevenly.
Mhm.
And like
So
totes are just kind of holding them all day. Like,
yeah, so I
yeah.
wouldn't be mad at like a little backpack next time. So
Okay.
but yeah, don't bring a big bag. Don't bring a rolly bag. You're not really you're not really getting product information. It's more of like cute swag stuff you might want to stash, bring home to your kids. Chocolate.
Yeah, for me, it was tough because I didn't really have like a jacket or anything. So I really just have
Oh,
whatever will fit in my pockets. And so some days I'm like, well, I've got to take this stuff and then go from there.
well, honestly, I think most of the time it was my jacket that is why I needed it, because it's hot, it's cold. I mean, I was verklempt, I was sweaty, then you're
Yeah, you
freezing
were overheating a
outside.
lot.
Inside it's hot. I was having some.
You were like, is it hot? And I'm like, no, it's not. It's like 72. And you're like, it's
It's
so hot.
I hate being
Mostly it's because we're rushing around. Like,
yeah, and you're like when you're inside those big buildings, there's just
and you had your hat on and a
air.
jacket, and we were rushing. So
But it
like
was freezing in the morning and at night in April.
in April.
Anyway, so light layers.
Yeah.
So okay. Let's go into like our actual recap of our time last week.
Okay.
When were we there?
3 weeks ago? Well, as of right now.
Yeah. Okay, so let's do some star spotting.
Star spotting. We saw design celebrities and real celebrities. So maybe let's start with like who would be like
who's a real celebrity? Okay.
I would consider Jane Seymour
a
real celebrity. Like she's not a design celebrity. Dr. Quinn Medicine Woman is like an actual. Yeah. How could you forget? I said we were at an elevator and I walked past someone and I said really loudly and obnoxiously, she looked like Jane Seymour. And then walking in the elevator, and then one of the people with us was like, she did. And then we get in the elevator, doors close, and the guy says that was Jane Seymour. And she was there promoting a collection that she helped design. And I was like, I could have met Dr. Quinn.
And he purposefully like held that information until
he waited till we were all in the elevator and I couldn't go fangirl over Jane Seymour. She's much smaller in person. She looked like she was 5'5".
I didn't see her.
She had on her like puffy jacket and a little scarf and her hair, her bangs. She looked amazing. But yeah, she did not want to be seen. And I'm sure it
was the end of the night.
Don't you think that someone who at this point in her life, don't you think you kind of laugh when someone goes, that looked like Jane Seymour? Like she must have been smirking like, yep, there's that again.
But she was there for an appearance, but it was just the end of the day. She was probably just over it.
I didn't. And then turns out later her face was plastered all over the elevators and I didn't even notice it. So stupid. I missed my chance, you guys.
Missed it. Okay, who else do we see? I had a moment
with Max Humphrey.
Oh, one of your moments.
Oh yeah. Did I not tell you? Yeah. During the Rue magazine event at the little mixer, Max Humphrey was there and we ended up talking mostly because Kelly Lamb, the editor of Rue, was asking about my pool, and then Max was asking some questions. And then, now we're just on a first name basis. Like we're friends now.
Yeah. He had a signature hat and Birkenstocks. So easy to
very
spot.
Recognizable. Yes.
Carson Kressley, we saw him multiple times.
Which for me is like hello, judge on RuPaul's Drag Race. Totally
OG
like
queer
eye, like big news for me.
He's cute. We saw him last in October too, I think.
Yes.
You had a moment with Jean Stauffer as well.
Yes. Should I say where we were?
Maybe
Anyways, Jean
not.
Stoffer was in a showroom and she said it looks expensive, but like in a this is overpriced kind of way. And I agreed with her. And she was like, right? And I'm like, yeah. And then she's like, yeah, I don't know. And then that was a quick moment. And Jean Stoffer's a design celebrity according to me.
She for sure is. I mean, she's got her own show in Magnolia Network.
She's big news.
We had bagels and coffee with Robert Novogratz.
Yeah. Do you think he was staying in our scary yacht, or was he?
Which made me feel a little better.
He's not too good to stay at a scary yacht.
He was in our hotel, probably going to promote.
It looked like his agent or someone was with him doing something. Yeah, his handler. What? Because he's that terrible. He needs like or is it like child actors? They like need to have a person with them at all times.
That's what Claire's our handler. Like we needed that.
Yeah. Someone to manage the talent.
A professional handler.
Yeah. Isn't that your husband's job?
Oh, hands off. Yeah, so he's very tall.
Yeah.
Say. Also, speaking of tall, I had a little one-on-one moment with the Earl of Spencer. That is Princess Diana's brother.
Mm-hmm.
He has a collection in Theodore Alexander for their family home. So there's a lot of amazing reproductions that are like straight out of Bridgerton.
Inspired by.
Yeah, some of them are like 100% reproductions, he said. And of their 500-year-old cottage.
just one of our many cottages.
Yeah, no, it's probably like full on Downton Abbey.
Yes.
But
yeah, so cottage to me feels like a 1.5 story little spot.
I don't think he said cottage, but they do.
He's talking about like Toad Hall. Like
yeah. So he gave us a tour of that collection, which was really cool, and to like hear about the history of some of the pieces. Like one of the pieces, for instance, was a trunk kind of that George Washington left behind when they were visiting George and Martha.
What? Like it's that old? It's like pre-revolutionary or like
it's a reproduction of the trunk that's actually in their original home in England. So that's a picture. So I took a picture with him and we're standing in front of it.
Oh, okay.
Cool. Anyway, so that was fun to have a little slice of
just a little tete-a-tete with nobility.
Also tall.
Yeah. And less noble, but American celebrity wise, I ran into Carmion Hamilton.
Her too.
At Tav for her. It was like it's not a full line collection. They partnered with multiple designers on sort of small collections. I feel like I'm not giving the name correct, but it was like we're not talking like 20 pieces.
No, they each
most
had
of them were like
5
6 pieces, 5 pieces.
One of the guys on our tour had a collection there too.
We ran into past podcast guest Dahlia from Design Assisted and her team that were there. They're from, go back and you can listen to what they do in episode 53.
Hi, Dahlia.
What's up?
Yeah, that was fun. We got to hang with them for a little bit. And then at that Rue meet and greet, we met so many hotties.
We crashed the Rue event,
which made it ours,
at Regina Andrew, because it was already going to be there, and we knew that we could pick a spot and just get everyone there, and that was so much fun. So shout out Sarah and Ben and Dana and Allison and Katasha and Megan. Oh God, I'm so sorry, guys. I can't remember everybody.
Yeah, I ran into a few other hotties. I think you did too in the showrooms, and they would pop out and say hi. So always say hi. I love it. It's so fun. It felt like we're actually doing something.
Yeah. It feels real when it's like actual people who are like, oh, hey, I listen and it's so good to see you. And that's totally fine. And
I love it. You guys like self-proclaim that you're hotties. So that was really fun.
Yes.
So I felt like the first few days was just so much of that. Like it felt like a fun high school reunion of people that you've never really met in real life.
Yes.
Which I don't know, that it was really fun and felt a lot more happening this time, especially versus October even. I even ran from someone from my high school. We were walking down. Okay, you guys, I went to high school in Southern California. We were in North Carolina. I also went to high school 29 years ago. Yes. And I was walking down the street and I hear Becky Parker, which is my maiden name. And my little friend, not little friend, he's a 47-year-old man, but he was my little friend, and Mario, and he was there representing a company he works for. So that was really funny. We tried to get together.
What are the odds?
Didn't make it happen. So random. And I also like fangirled myself. So I am like pro fangirl. If you see somebody that you know, you should talk to them. Like they're normal people. Yeah. So like I've been in a group in the past, Rochelle Plett. If you don't know her, we're hoping to get her on the pod sometime soon. She's an upholstery savant.
Yes.
Sean's.
I'm taking her class. It starts tomorrow. So the pod will be a little behind her class, Upholstery Uncovered.
So, and Sean's her very first.
I'm the first man who's going to be in any of her classes ever. So I don't know where y'all are at, but like,
do it.
Sign up for the class. I mean, I haven't even started it yet. I'm taking it because you and Claire took it and recommended it so highly. So,
and she just released her first book. So we just got that in the mail. Anyway, yeah. Rochelle, hi. She's really sweet.
Maybe like, should we go through sort of, maybe we each give our hot take of how we felt about a couple things, like the quick hits.
Okay.
I felt let down by the quality of case goods, like drawers and doors being crappy on dressers or like cabinets. Kind of like, I just generally feel like I was running into, in that sort of mid-market segment, a lot of quality issues. At the higher market segment, not as much of a problem. But in that like mid to high, it's not, I don't want entry level stuff. I want quality pieces of furniture. And what's odd is that some of the price points for these mid-level pieces were still high, but then the drawers are dragging and the cabinets don't close properly. And I have a hard time saying that if what you have in your showroom has that problem. I have a really hard time suspending my disbelief that that's not going to happen to the pieces that actually get delivered to my client. It's a no-go for me. Like,
and I think that's what's so beneficial about going to market, seeing the stuff in person. But I think this goes back to the point that I think I've made every single episode, because it still is true, is we need to recalibrate what things cost. So I agree. Like some of the stuff was like, oh my God, that's what my price is. Like, oh my God, double that to a client.
Exactly.
But it's the recalibration of what things actually cost is the starting point. Like $2,000 ain't what it used to be.
So case goods was a disappointment because I just was not seeing what I wanted. I think from a style perspective, there is a lot of like, more, this is my style aesthetic, is a little bit less ornate, more humble on the material front. And I feel like Highpoint, a lot of what they're showing is what's going to appeal to a coastal east coastal and maybe a more southern aesthetic, which can be a little bit more ornate, maybe also more glam. More
glam, traditional,
extra trim and details. And I'm not team none of that. You're not going to see me incorporating a lot of white lacquered nightstands with polished or with like lacquered brass trim on them. You're like, that's not going to be my jam. I don't really do coastal either. Like, I don't want it to look deliberately coastal where I just kind of, it's not a no, it's just there was a lot of it. So if you've got
in general, though, like I've kind of resigned myself to the fact that my style that I'm wanting to develop more,
Mm-hmm.
it will never be portrayed in any one showroom.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So there's
No, I
always
don't
going to be the like cherry
pick.
picking.
Yeah, I'm always going to have to be like, okay, you're on a desert island and need a nightstand. Pick one from the showroom. But I found things, but I did leave with this sense of, oh gosh, I haven't like discovered that one hidden gem that I didn't know about. And I think because we've gone to Vegas market several times and we had been in Highpoint before, I didn't really feel like there was a new discovery that like rocked my world necessarily. But when we went in October, I was exposed to a couple more. It's just a lot of them are in that higher market level, and I'm not quite there yet with my projects. Like,
Yeah.
my clients aren't ready to buy a $10,000 bed. Like the frame, the headboard to footboard situation. Like they are not in that, but those vendors are there, and it's great. But I did appreciate how big the showrooms were for a lot of vendors that we already are familiar with, because you have a lot more options in High Point than you do in some of the Vegas ones, if they're even in Vegas. Like
Totally.
like the Circa lighting, or I should say Visual Comfort,
Oh
huge in High Point. It's basically a bathroom in Vegas. Like it's tiny.
Yeah.
And like
Jaipur
Jaipur doesn't even show in Vegas. So you have to go. And I ordered so many samples for my new space.
So many. Still
So good timing.
Yeah, I feel that take. I mean, I think it's partly we've been to a lot of markets in the past calendar
So we're jaded
year.
is what you're
maybe
saying?
Like we wouldn't have probably gone to this one if I hadn't been invited on that tour. So that was
right.
The impetus. But I was interested in learning a lot more about like the creative stories behind the scenes. That was one of the really cool things about being on the tour. I have some blog posts that I need to contractually write, so share those when they're live. But we got invited by some of the showroom creatives, so like the designers of the actual products, or the people like Wesley Hall, like the showroom designer who put together the little vignettes and the sets of the actual rooms, which were really inspiring because they're a mix of the furniture design and finishes with the actual like room production, like a storefront almost. So I loved hearing more of this behind the scenes stories, which was great, and learning a little bit more about companies that I maybe would have glossed over before, like Hubbardton Forge, for instance. Some other pieces are not completely my style, but the quality and the way they produce everything in the US, and there's so much customization that they can do. It was really eye-opening and exciting, and made me also realize like, oh, I should probably just find out more about every vendor that I already work with, like, because sometimes they have a lot of control over their production and can do extra things that are
like
special.
I didn't know, not to like go back again to Jaipur, but like when I was meeting with my rep there, he was like, this rug, they can custom bind it and cut it down into a runner if you want. And it's like, he's like, this one doesn't come in a runner, but they can take any large, like you can take any 8x11 or 8x10 rug and they'll put it into a runner. Like you just like, and I was like, I didn't know that. And I wouldn't have even thought to ask.
Versus you thought you could just custom order and wait 9 months. Like, so that's something different. Like they're taking an existing rug.
Like they will take a rug and they'll take the 8x11 and they can split it into 3 if you want. And like, I'm like, oh, this is rocking my world. Like, I didn't know. I had that option. And I think you won't know what vendors have. To what you're saying, it's just, we got to ask them what they can do.
Yeah. So that's, I think, leaning on your reps, learning more about what's possible, because we all know their websites aren't always the best.
I'm still mad at so many vendors. I'm still so mad about just the quality of the websites and the photography. And then I think I told you I bent a lot of ears this market, talking to reps and talking to people in vendor showrooms, whether they represented the brand or they were there. And I was just like really leaning in on those problems. Like, we need stock on a website. We need to be able to order without you. Forget the fax machines.
Oh my
Can you
God.
get better photos? You need to be able to send samples better. Like, there's a lot, and they're so used to working with dealers and like large retailers that
Who don't
they've
care.
never, they haven't learned how to take care of designers. And then there's a few vendors where they really get it and they want to be designer focused because they're tired of letting dealers dictate the story. And they realize that designers create beautiful and complete spaces, and dealers sell one sofa, like in a showroom, and they'll never get great photos of it. And it doesn't really help like elevate the brand if someone buys 30 tables. And designers do create interest for their company, and it helps spread the word to other designers.
Designers
faster.
do the marketing. Like,
yeah, we're a built-in marketing platform for brands versus a dealer. For most types of dealers, they're not doing that. They're not getting other dealers on board, as quickly as other designers get on board.
for sure not. Yeah. So overall, I felt like I saw more new stuff this market than I did the last three.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like the last three markets were a lot of the same, just supply chain stuff. They didn't have it. So I don't know. I feel like it was exciting to feel people being excited.
It's exciting when people are excited.
Beaten down by the reality of everything. So I think people are feeling more optimistic again about getting stuff and designing new things. I also love the fact of the East Coast point of view is so different that it's inspiring to see. So, like, for instance, like upholstery details, like Wesley Holligan, for instance, like seeing like a little pleated skirt on the bottom of a sofa and the contrast piping and trim details like that. There's so much more of that in Highpoint than there is on the West Coast.
There's a lot of thought that you can tell when, like, in the same way that sometimes we think like, oh, being restrained also takes a lot of thought to like simplify the form of a sofa or simplify fabric selections. Like, equal to that is the opposite side, where you say it takes a lot of work to make all of these upholstery details come together so masterfully, like, and to pattern mix so skillfully. Like, that takes an equal amount of restraint for those companies to put together really inspiring color schemes and details, and like
and even just though it's not like some of the more like preppy showrooms, for instance, aren't like per se my style, but I definitely find a lot of value and inspiration in the methodology and how to adapt that and apply it to my projects. I like seeing that, and that's in the traditional stuff. So my style is definitely going to be more modern, but how can things be reinterpreted, or I don't know. There's just more charm.
I like the way that you describe that being more preppy. Like, I feel some of that, and there's like maybe a little bit more like unintentional cheekiness in some of that. Like English inspiration, a little bit more that comes in from
Southern, I think.
a Southern inspiration,
like
which builds
James,
off of.
Look.
Yeah. I think I'm there for some of it. I just have to like, oh, how would I edit that?
I'm not there for it as is, but yes, like it's the reinterpretation of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think in that way, for sure, there's tons of inspiration. I think you should all go.
Oh, I 100% your confidence and your ability to work with vendors and to understand where your profitability is. And then for inspiration, I want without a hesitation think everybody needs to go, but maybe you only need to go once a year.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a year and a half. Like maybe you're still going once a year technically, but you're going to do
flip-flop.
Yeah, you're going to like space it out far enough. So you do like your first one, maybe you're going to go this October, but then you're not going to go again until the following, like, I guess it would be like April 2024.
Yeah, I've heard October is usually a little bit bigger. For some reason, I had a couple people tell me that on our trip. Would you go by yourself?
I would.
Yeah, I would too. I mean, it does help.
I don't think
now
I'll
that
ever
I've
be in
been.
that place, but I don't think I'll ever have if I ever said I'm going to go by myself, I know other people would be like, well, we're going to be there too. So then it's like, well, you might as well.
Right. But like if you needed to go because you just really needed to like pull together stuff for your showroom or whatever.
Yeah.
And no
or
one
you
else,
want to get
we
all the
couldn't
market
go or whatever.
Like you're like, I have to meet with my rep and get all my sample orders in because they're free if you're at market. And it's just like, I'm going to pull the heck out of all this stuff that I need.
I feel like it's super doable and way less intimidating when you're there.
Oh, yeah.
As long as you just know how to get there, where you're staying and where to park. Like you wouldn't even need to park. Like in that case, I might just shuttle it. And
then you fake it. Like you get in the showroom and you ask them the same questions that everybody, where do you ship from? What are your lead times like right now? You know, what's your freight like? Like just get in and start asking those basic questions and then dive in with the real with the showroom reps or anyone else. Like if you're powered with a couple of those questions, they're not gonna be able to tell if it's your first time at market or not.
No.
So don't be scared by that, like gatekeeping mentality of markets or something. And then tell all
the gatekeeping part, I don't feel like is a thing at all.
That's funny because I feel like it's still there on as far as like how much are you selling? Do you have a store?
Okay,
and there is a level of dismissiveness of like, oh, yes. Like one person literally said to me, so you consider yourself a designer? And I think what he meant to say was, are you a design buyer? But it came out as I'm about to slap your mama because I was like not here for that behavior. So quite a few vendors do ask questions like that where it's like, oh, you're just a designer. And you got to be able to roll with that and be like, yes, I might just be a designer, but I'm ordering X amount for a client's or I'm working in this amount of cost of goods. Like show them what your buying power needs to be or talk to them about the volume of projects you're doing.
Okay. Yes. I guess I was meaning more of just like, you can walk in a showroom and not feel intimidated.
Oh,
the actual reps, you're going to, I had some arguing.
I rolled my eyes so many times.
Yeah. The actual, some of the reps are not great.
I'm just canceling old white men with big baggy diaper pants. But
the most annoying ones weren't old white men this time.
Oh yeah. I had that Valley girl.
Yeah. Don't say.
Maybe our tolerance wasn't there either. Like, I'm not here to schmooze all the time. I'm here to get, like, I want my questions answered. I need to know about this. I need to know about that. Like, when I was there to do business, and then some of them thought we were just going to have a friendly chat, and they weren't picking up on oh no, he's having a real business conversation right now. That was like
I'm like having a timeout, and I need not to.
You want to nap on a chair?
Yeah. I want to eat my snack and have you leave me alone.
Yes.
Yeah. It's, I guess, one thing that is real. And we've talked about this a little bit, but don't underestimate the overstimulation factor and build in breaks.
Resets. Yeah.
I'm pretty sensitive to overstimulation, especially when my creative brain is on and there's a lot of people around. So just take breaks. Have somebody that understands your not so subtle nuances.
Yeah, we get like we kind of know when it's like we could say to each other, it's time for a little breather, or it's time for this, or I'm kind of done right here. I guess that would be the valuable part of if you were there on your own, you know your own limitations, but having design friends around you does make it easier to get out of your shell, say hi to people that you don't know, you know. I think that's super valuable, and I would definitely recommend that of pull a couple Instagram friends who are local, and you don't got to spend all your time together, but having people who can help pull you from that. I think I got to do a couple of those with listeners where we were just in a showroom at the same time, and I'm like, oh, let me tag along, I'm heading that way anyway. And so yeah, strike up a conversation, spill some tea with other designers. Don't be afraid to say out loud what you're thinking about stuff. Like, I started so many conversations by saying, I don't know if I like that light fixture.
Oh my God. There's so many of me going, shh.
Or I'd go, or I would say, I don't think I can justify that price. And then another designer would go, right? Like, it's okay.
No, you would say worse stuff than that sometimes. That I'd be
well, those are the uncut jams, and you guys have to be there in person to get the Sirha uncut jams. Like,
oh my God, it's funny. It's funny. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of like, yeah, we hear a lot of chuckles as strangers would walk by hearing those.
Oh, no. So fun. Maybe next market, we still, in my dreams, I would love to have a actual like, let's hang out and go to showrooms, Hot Young Designers tour with our hotties, where it's like, you don't got to spend the whole market with us, but in my dreams, I want to manifest that.
I mean, hotties tell us, like, I feel like we could put that together.
Yeah.
Now that we're experts.
And the hotties that are already members of the Patreon can already talk to us more about some of that. So
yeah,
just putting that out there again for y'all. We really appreciate it. And in fact, a lot of Patreon members were the hotties that were at Highpoint, like a good handful of those already.
Yeah, because they're the ones that are trying to up the
game, building on our community, and like having that connection with one another makes a huge difference in the way that you can approach things like market.
Yep. So I think that's probably all we have to say about this.
I mean, for right now, that's it. So until next time,
stay hot, designers.
Thanks for joining this meeting of the Hot Young Designers Club podcast.
If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts. Check out the show notes there for links to things we talked about today.
We are keeping the conversation going on Instagram, so don't forget to like, comment, and follow at Hot Young Designers Club.
You can find Rebecca on Instagram at Studio Plum.
And you can find Sean at Renstead Interiors. That's WRENSTED.
Now with more vocal fry.
Your voice doesn't sound as
crackly.
New and improved.